Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest and welcome to an abbreviated technical update video. The whole reason why this particular edition is abbreviated is simply because, well, first reason, lack of planning. I knew there was potential. I wouldn't have access to my computer for most of the day and I could have planned around it, but I didn't. In fact, I could have recorded this video yesterday or even in the morning, but I waited and then I lost access to my computer, and then I had to wait to get access back. And here we are, 6:38 p.m. Brisbane. It is getting dark outside. In fact, it is almost completely dark right now. And the other thing is, I put a pie in the oven. I am quite hungry, so I didn't have access to my kitchen either. And go pies, not Collingwood pies, meat pies, and that should be ready in about 25-30 minutes. So abbreviated version. So let's get stuck into it. First of all, we're going to be looking at, or I'll be looking at Australian indices, and then we'll go through all the other indices, have a look at commodities, Bitcoin, bonds, and do have 10 companies charts I want to look at. And remains to be seen whether I will have a look at those particular charts, because if I ramble on, exactly what I'm doing now, then I won't have time. Okay, interesting weekly chart for the XJO, because I thought we were down for the week. Now, we were down slightly, 0.12%, but we had two good days on Thursday and Friday. So the start of the week was negative, the end of the week was quite positive. Hence, an interesting candlestick with a long shadow below the main body, and the main body is fairly skinny, down 0.12% for the week. And almost closed near the highs or all-time highs for the XGO. Not if you go back a few weeks ago, we were well above the level we closed at, but I'm talking about the end of the week, not during the week, the end of the week. So still looking pretty good for the XGO. And if you do have a look at this particular chart, you can see numerous weeks where we are down big, numerous weeks where we are up big, and on occasion we have a week like last week where we just don't go anywhere. Now that's the XJO, the only indice I have had a look at. In fact, the only indice commodity Bitcoin bonds that I've looked at. So let's have a look at all these other charts that I haven't had a squeeze at, whatever you want to call it. First one is the the next one is the XSO. And unlike the XJO, which was only down slightly, XSO was down, maybe not big, but down 1.47%. So a little bit of weakness in small caps during the week. But in saying that, we still are above the support level. It was resistance, now it's support. And that level is about 3,100. And currently, the XSO is right on, what is it, 3,123. So sort of going sideways after the breakout. Now, I would like to see the XSO go higher from here. So I would like to see a little bit of strength in small caps. Now, I am a fan of small caps. I do prefer small caps over the big companies, particularly the banks and the mining companies. So I am a fan of the small caps, although there are quite a few companies in small caps or the small orderies that I don't like that much. But that's true for all indices, isn't it? Anyway, so that's the Australian, I was going to say American indices. That's the Australian indices. And slight weakness in small caps, but overall not as bad as I thought it was. Now, as we turn attention to the American indices, the end of the week was pretty negative, unlike the Australian indices. NASDAQ down 2.4% on Friday, Dow Jones 0.7%, and the Russell 2000 down 1.4%. So let's have a look for the week. NASDAQ was down 3.4%. So don't be surprised if we do see a little bit of weakness in the Australian market on Monday, which is tomorrow. Now, last week was really good for the NASDAQ because of the Trump trade, and it's pulled back. So probably a little bit of profit taking. Last week we are all-time highs. Now we have pulled back. Now, I wouldn't be stressing out about this little pullback. It's just what you see on occasion when it comes to anything that has a chart like this. But overall, NASDAQ is still in a beautiful uptrend. Same thing can be said for the Dow Jones. In fact, it was not quite bad as of a week as the Nasdaq, only down 1.24% after last week up. What was it last? What was it up last week? 4.6%. And again, just like the Nasdaq, coming off all-time highs. But no reason to become stressed. Quite frequently, we see weeks like this. Okay, and what about the Russell 2000? Had an absolutely stellar week last week. Now, what about this week? The complete opposite. Now, not quite the complete opposite, because last week the Russell 2000 was up 8.6%. This week, down 4%, 3.99%. And probably the most important thing for the Russell 2000 is last week we saw a breakout above this purple box. And look what happened. The last 4 trading days were negative. And we are getting towards the top of that purple box. So the next few trading days for the Russell 2000 are going to be quite important. So the Trump trade definitely has come to an end. Well, I shouldn't say that. If it keeps on falling, we could say it has come to an end. But maybe this is just a buy the dip situation for the Russell 2000 and small caps in the United States. Okay, so let's turn attention to some international indices. We'll have a look at the Nikkei first, and I'll go back to the weekly charts. How did the Nikkei go during the week? Down slightly. So that was the theme of the week for most indices, down. In fact, at this point in time, the best performing index was the XJO, but I do expect a little bit of weakness on Monday. So Nikkei down 2.2%, just going sideways at this point in time. But overall, if you look at the broad trend, it's still in an uptrend, but going sideways over the last few months. Hang Seng for the week, down 6.3%. Oh, didn't expect that. Now, Hang Seng was looking interesting last week. It looked like it had found a little bit of support, but this week that support has sort of collapsed. Yeah, that's probably a good word. It has collapsed. And when support collapses, you don't want to be in that trade. And that's what it looks like for the Hang Seng. So pretty negative week for this particular index and China, I suppose. And what about DAX? I'm looking for some positive movements. Not the DAX. It also is down. Well, only down 0.02%. It looks worse on the chart because it actually opened up on Monday. And so over the week, even though there's a red candlestick, that's because from the open to the close, it was down. But from the close last week to the close this week, only down slightly. So that's the best performing index we have seen. Maybe the FTSE performed better. Now, overall, DAX still in an uptrend. What about the FTSE? It's probably I wouldn't say the ugliest chart, but the most boring chart. Yeah, we'll say that FTSE is the most boring chart. And FTSE down 0.11%. So it continues its reputation of being the most boring index in my video. So last few weeks it was down, this week flat. And if you have a look at the daily chart for the FTSE, it's starting to look a little bit negative, particularly if it falls below, say, 7,900. That would be really negative move for the FTSE, currently 8,063. But going sideways for a long period of time, and now it has pulled back. So FTSE is probably the weakest of all the indices we have looked at. Okay, so that's the indices, and 9 minutes are over. So I'm getting through this fairly quickly. Now on to commodities. Gold, bad week. In fact, it just keeps on falling. In fact, for the week, one of the worst weeks gold has experienced for a while, down 4.5%. Let's go back through time to find the worst. The last time we saw this sort of bad week for gold, not in May. What about this week in September? No. What about July 2022? No. What about this week? No. Oh, I can see a week here. I think this week, back in June 2021, gold was down 6.04%. And then after that week, gold went sideways for about 2 months. So this is by far the worst week we have seen with gold, and I would suggest and say most companies, gold companies on the ASX, have had a pretty bad week as well. Now, just because gold has had a bad week, in fact, 2 bad weeks in a row, doesn't mean the uptrend in gold is coming to an end. Particularly if you look at the weekly chart, it's still in an uptrend. But if you do have a look at the daily chart, there is signs that the uptrend is coming to an end. It actually has fallen through a support level, fell through that support level on Wednesday, but it has just hit the 200, actually the 100-day moving average, and it is showing some signs of the downtrend maybe coming to a short-term end. The last 2 days, we haven't seen a significant fall in gold, and maybe we will see a bounce over the next few days. So that's gold. Silver, probably a little bit more negative. If you have a look at the weekly chart, silver, 3 down weeks in a row, down 3.23%. So even though 3 down weeks in a row, the weekly chart still looks slightly positive for silver, but daily chart, not quite so. Now, it is in the longer term moving average channel, so possible support where silver is right now. The question is, will this weakness continue over the next few weeks? So maybe if you do think it's going to continue, this weakness, maybe now is time to get out of your silver companies. But if you think there is support at these levels, if you're bullish on silver and gold, maybe now is a time to buy some silver and gold companies. And there's quite a few silver juniors on the ASX. Quite a few. Just Google silver companies on the ASX and you'll see quite a few. What about copper? Now, I do own one copper company, and the share price of that copper company fell through the roof. Or maybe that's being a little bit negative. It didn't fall through the roof. Hillgrove Resources. It didn't have the best week. In fact, Hillgrove Resources was down 14.3% for the week. So if we go back to copper, did copper have that sort of bad week? Yeah, sort of did, didn't it? Down 5.6% for the week. That's why Hillgrove was down fairly significantly. And unfortunately for copper and copper bugs, not copper bugs, copper bulls, not a good looking daily chart. In fact, yeah, it's definitely not an uptrend. I wouldn't say it's in a downtrend either. And now it is at support level as well. You can see it's right on the last lows, the previous lows we saw in September, but there's also a support level at about $3.90, which was the lows we saw in August. So copper, not really exciting at this point. If anything, a little bit bearish. We'll just say that, a little bit bearish. Okay, iron ore, below $100. Gee, all these are looking weak. Iron ore down about 5.13% for the week. And really, when you look at the weekly chart, no trend at all. Going sideways, some peaks and troughs. In fact, the distance between the peaks and troughs is narrowing, so lower and lower volatility for iron ore. But if you look at the daily chart, a very short-term downtrend. I would expect a bit of support at around $90, and if that falls through, or if iron ore falls through $90, that will be a little bit bearish, but still a little bit off that level. What about uranium? Uranium did have a good week, if I remember correctly. Yeah, uranium did have a good week. So this is a spot physical uranium, up almost 10%. There was one day, I don't remember what happened, what caused it, but there was a day, let's just have a look what day that was. That was Tuesday, uranium up 8.3%. Interesting one-day counterstick on the Friday. There was a little bit of selling coming in. The price of the spot physical uranium got up to 27.50 and then pulled back. And if I saw that sort of candlestick for a company, I would be a little bit wary. And the whole reason why I'd be a little bit wary is because the price pulled back because it got into a resistance zone, because the price was in that area not that long ago. Oil keeps falling down to $66.90. It looks like it's moving into a support level. So if it falls through about $65, that would be fairly bearish. So if you have a look at the weekly chart, Yeah, $65 would be really bearish if it falls below that level. Otherwise, nothing much happening with oil. Now we'll go through the rest fairly quickly, or do we even have to go through the rest? Yeah, I could probably stop it there. I'm not going to look at tin, nickel, coal, but I will have a look at palladium. So palladium's had 3 bad weeks in a row, but I think the fall or the drop is coming to an end. Whole reason I'm saying that, down 3.9% for the week. Whole reason I'm saying that is we have seen palladium maybe bounce. Yeah, 2 positive days in a row for palladium after about 8, 9, 10 down days in a row. So potential bounce in palladium. Okay, now let's turn our attention to a couple of charts that are looking really bullish, and that is Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are by far my favorite charts right now. Bitcoin broke out because Trump got in power, and everyone believes, or maybe not everyone, but a lot of people believe he's really pro-crypto. I keep seeing that around, hearing stories, reading stories that Trump is significantly pro, maybe not significantly, probably a bad word there, but he's definitely pro-crypto particularly compared to the other mob, and that's why Bitcoin has broken out and is moving higher, up to $91,000. The other good thing is a really good run up in Bitcoin, and the last few days we haven't seen much selling. In fact, Bitcoin is going very slightly upwards. That's a good sign. There's a lot of strength in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is looking brilliant. Look at the volume as well. A lot of volume coming in. And Ethereum probably should be looking pretty good as well. Maybe not as good as Bitcoin, but still this looks good. And I think at this point in time, you can't go wrong with many cryptos. Now I'm just going to extend that downtrend and look at that perfectly. So Ethereum has pulled back from that downtrend line almost perfectly. Some people say trend lines don't work. Anyway, it's working for Ethereum. What about bonds? 30-year bonds? Looking pretty good. Bonds are ripping higher. Keeps getting higher, up to 4.65% during the week. And who knows, maybe it's going to keep on going higher. So this is telling us a lot. Well, the bond market is telling us a lot with this particular movement in bonds over the last few months. Okay, and the Aussie dollar, I would say it's down. Yes, there it is. In fact, the Aussie dollar fell through the trend line on Tuesday. So down to $64. Yeah, or it's not dollars, 64 cents. It looked like it was going to break out not that long ago, just over a month and a half ago, but it just pulled back since then. And that's also telling us something. So bonds going higher, Australian dollar going lower, that is telling us something. The very fact that the US dollar is actually showing some strength, Trump won't like that. He wants a weak dollar. He thinks they're going to be more competitive if they have a weak dollar, so he won't like that. And they are related, by the way, bonds, American bonds going higher and the dollar gaining strength. They are related. Okay, so let's have a look at a few individual companies' charts. Yeah, I have a little bit of time. So I was thinking 25 to 30 minutes. So I have to be quick on these 10. So what I did is grabbed 5 charts I thought looked interesting for various reasons, and then 5 companies I am trading. So let's start off with Electro Optics. Now, the whole reason why I think this chart looks interesting is because the share price is right on support. So that support level is about $1.20. So will we see Electro Optics bounce off this level? The last 2 times it's happened. Will it happen again? Not necessarily will, but this is sort of like a low risk trade. Expecting a bounce. If it doesn't bounce, you just sell your position. I don't mind these sort of low risk trades, but I don't know. Will it bounce? Now, if it does bounce, I would expect maybe a 20% gain. Maybe 20% gain. Okay, so that's Electro Optics. Lark Distilling. This is an interesting one. Now, remember why I've included this particular chart in this video. Now, I was just going through some of the charts, and I noticed there's a massive peak in volume. Just a, one day, massive spike in volume, and that signified the bottom in the share price. And the share price has gone up Not a lot, but it has gone up since then. Now, that sort of triggered something in me. I was thinking, can or is that sort of spike in volume a signal? Can we use that as a signal that the bottom has been reached? So that is something I'm going to work on in the future, looking at these random spikes in volume and whether that can be a signal that the bottom is or has been reached or is close to being reached. And for Lark Distilling, that is definitely true. Share price is higher. Not only that, we have seen these little peaks in volume after that. So that is telling me there could be some fund managers who could be becoming interested in Lark Distilling. Now on to Intelligent Monitoring Group. Now, just like Electro Optic Systems, there is potential that Intelligent Monitoring Group is trying to bounce, or it has started to bounce off a support level. A really rapid drop in share price over about 5 or 6 trading days. Share price went from 78 cents down to, well, just below 50 cents, but there was a nice little support level at around about, what's that, 46 cents. And hopefully that should be obvious why that's support level. And it looks like that is a support level. It hit it and it's gone sideways. In the last 2 trading days, we have seen the share price of Intelligent Monitoring Group have a little bit of a bounce. It's gone from 46 cents up to 52 cents. The other thing is, the day that the share price actually did reach that support level was the highest volume day. So that is interesting in itself as well. And we have seen a pickup in volume over the past 4 or so months. And that is also interesting as well. Avita Medical, this one popped on my radar because a breakout. Yeah, I put this dashed line in as a resistance line at about $3.20. And 2 weeks ago, Avita Medical broke out above that. And look at the volume accompanying that breakout. Really good volume coming through. So this is a classic breakout. I wasn't really following Avita at this point in time, but this is the sort of thing I am looking for time and time again. I'm not sure if the breakout coincided with positive financial news, but it doesn't really have to. So I do look for these sort of breakouts, and Avita Medical, definitely one to put on your watch list, and maybe a nice buy, maybe a trade here for Avita Medical. One company I don't really know much about, SDI Ltd. I think this is a company that manufactures stuff for dentists, equipment for dentists. I could be wrong. I think it is. Engages in the research, development, manufacturing, and marketing of dental restorative products, tooth whitening systems, and small dental equipment for sale to dental distributors, dental dealers, and dentists worldwide. Okay, so even though I do know this is something to do with dentists, I've never had a close look at this company, and maybe I will now because this chart doesn't look half bad. Half bad. Okay, my pronunciation is starting to waver. Now, the breakout here for SDI happened on the 2nd of July. You can see the share price on that day rallied 9.6%. Now, the share price didn't reach a 3-month high, but there was really good volume coming in that day. And the share price, that's really started the rally. And look, since then, share price has just gone from strength to strength to strength. And we have seen consistent volume coming in. So definitely someone is interested in this company. And the share price has gone from about 85 cents up to $1.10. So a nice looking chart for SDI Ltd. Okay, now let's have a look at some companies I am trading. And the first one is a possible sell. Step 1 Clothing. Now, I did take profits about 6 months ago. A beautiful trade this one was. There's me buying at 52.5 cents back in August 2023. Beautiful breakout that was. And then I took some profits, I forget when, but probably about April, May. And then at that point in time, I went, I'm going to keep the rest of my holding, just to see what happens. Share price hasn't really done much since then. It looked like it was trying to move into an uptrend back in August, September, but the share price has pulled back significantly in the last few months. Not only that, it has fallen through my first resist or support level, and that was at $1.47. If it falls through there, $1.25, around that level, that would be really negative. Because that was the lows, that price was the lows back in May. So that's really my sell point for STEP. If I see it fall below that level, that will be a really negative move for this company. So close to selling step one. I don't like the share price action at this point in time. SGI, this is Stealth Group. Really nice rally a few months ago on really good volume. And look what the share price has done since then. It's just gone sideways. I love these consolidation phases because that is telling me that anyone who wants to sell out has sold out. There hasn't been any significant dip in the share price. And that is telling me there's a bit of strength to this company. So I like this chart for Stealth Group. Now, I don't know when the next movement in the share price is going to happen. It could be tomorrow. It could be a week, a month, 6 months from now. But I do like this chart. And the simple reason I like this chart is because we haven't seen any selling. The other thing I like about this chart, look at that big volume coming in on Friday. Massive volume coming in after a couple of months where there wasn't much volume compared to what we saw at the start of September. And that's when the share price rallied. And when the share price goes sideways, we haven't seen much volume. So possibly share price will rally from here just because of that volume. Tasby. Okay. Excuse me. Tasby, recent listing. This company listed back in late April. Share price really didn't do anything for a while. But when the company did release their results, there was signs of a breakout. And then we really got the breakout on the 12th of September, so about 2 or 3 weeks after they released their results. And the share price has just kept on going up. I was a little bit late to this one, bought at $2.07. I probably should have bought when they did release the results because that was the first sign. And I was following this company for about 3 or 4 weeks before I bought in. So a little bit late to the party, but it just shows you can be late to the party, but you can still benefit from an awesome chart and awesome movement in the share price. So share price has moved from $2.07 when I bought to $3.03. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see share price pull back because this has been an absolutely brilliant run over the past 3 or 4 months. AMA Group, this is one of those companies I just can't believe I am trading. Same can be said for AMP. AMA Group, I would consider this company really low quality, but look at this chart. I'm liking this. The more and more I look at this chart, I like it. So I bought it 6 cents on a little bit of a breakout. On occasion, share price has fallen below 6 cents, has been as low as 5.4 cents about 2 weeks ago. But in the last week, we have seen the share price get to 7 cents. I'd love to see the share price get above 7 cents and remain above 7 cents, and then get to 8 cents and remain above 8 cents. But I do like this chart. It is showing some signs of moving into an uptrend. And hopefully, the uptrend will continue for a long, long time. And finally, the last trade I bought into, Parenti. So this is a case of me liking the share price, moving up quickly, and then going sideways for about 3 weeks, yeah. So it's been going sideways since the 22nd of October, almost 1 month. I like that. I really like that when the share price goes sideways. So this is a consolidation phase, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the share price start to rally from here. The reason I say that is if you have a look at, say, Superloop. I think Superloop is one. Share price rallied significantly. Here we go. Rallied significantly back in March, and then went sideways for about 2 months, and then just started to grind higher. So I'm hoping Parenti is going to be similar than this one. Okay, so I have done it. I wanted to keep this video under 30 minutes, and I have done. I can't believe it. Okay, so if you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who's qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.